Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, this is your boy JC from JC Eagles Talk, and today I got with me a special guest. His name is Mr. Bo Wolf, the fantasy king himself.
I'll take it.
Hey, that's what the rumor is. So I'm just saying, if it's not true, then hey, we'll see. Hey, how you doing, Bo?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Look, man, I'm great, man. Hey, anytime the Eagles win, how can I not be great, right? So hey, introduce yourself, let them know a little bit about you, and then we're gonna get into it.
Sure. So I cover the team for the Eagles, for The Athletic. I used to work for the Eagles. Cover the team for The Athletic. I'm Bo_Wolf on Twitter. We've got the Birds with Friends podcast with Zach Berman and Shil Kapadia when we talk about the Eagles 3 times a week. And, if you want to hear what we've got to say, subscribe, listen, all that good stuff.
In fact, hey, I did listen to your late night Sunday night with Zach. So I had Zach on my show already. Oh, that's fine. No, I watched it the next day.
Okay, that's good.
But yeah, he's a good guy.
I still should maybe apologize, but that's okay.
It's all good. It's all good. So let's get into it. So Sunday, we think we came out the game pretty healthy. So is there any big injury concern we should be worrying about going into this upcoming matchup with the 49ers?
No, I think you're right. They came through pretty good. Marcus Epps, who started at safety in place of Rodney McLeod, is in the concussion protocol. He was replaced by Kayvon Wallace in that game on Sunday against the Falcons. I don't know if Rodney McLeod is going to be ready to come back this week, so it's possible it could be Kayvon Wallace again if Epps is out. But other than that, everybody seemed fine. I think Ertz, tweaked his hamstring, but he finished the game, so he should be good to go as well.
Yeah, I saw that. But the hamstring injury, I mean, you think even if he finished the game, he might want to, because we need Hurts like 3-4 weeks down the road. But right now, I feel like, with Stoll, waiting and Goddard, and then nobody really know our game plan. I mean, we probably could, just to make sure. Because
I feel like no, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm about to say the Philadelphia fans are happy. The injury bug has not caught us yet. So this might start if he try to push it and try to prove himself, instead of waiting just one more week. Even if a tweaked hamstring could get pulled so fast.
That's true, but I feel like the fact that he came back in the game when it was already sort of a blowout, right? Like by the time he came back into the game, it was already a game that looked in hand for the Eagles. I feel like if he was willing to go back in and they were willing to put him back in, then it really must have been pretty minor. But you're right. I mean, like Sirianni's approach the entire summer has been trying to get guys to the regular season healthy, right? That's why a bunch of guys didn't play in the preseason. That's why training camp, the practices were shorter and a little bit more intense, and from like an efficiency standpoint. So that has worked out so far. I mean, this is still an old team, a bunch of guys over 30. So you expect injuries to come, but for now it is working out pretty well.
Hey, I love it. So a quick recap of Sunday big win. First of all, did you anticipate this type of win, this type of blowout, this type of efficiency with our offense, with our defense, with everybody jumping up and down like it's back in 2017 all over again? People kicking in doors. I mean, the celebrations are crazy. So what did you expect? Like, how did you feel about this past Sunday win?
Yeah, I mean, that's what jumped out to me was just how much fun it seemed like everybody was having. And that, like Nick Sirianni has emphasized togetherness and connection and all that stuff and guys having fun throughout the summer. You didn't know if that was going to actually play out on the field, but this has been like that was a fun team to watch. Jalen Hurts brings something interesting to the table. They're getting guys in space on offense. It's not this like boring, repetitive bog that we saw over the past couple seasons with running the show. I was expecting the Eagles to win on Sunday. I picked them to win, but I certainly was not expecting it to be so one-sided. I also I wasn't expecting the Falcons to be so bad. I mean, they looked pretty putrid on both sides of the ball. Like the offense after those first 2 drives had nothing going. It looked like they had no answers at all. I do think that we have to say that the Falcons played a big part in the way that game played out. I mean, even if they just score a touchdown on one of those 2 possessions inside the 10-yard line on the first 2 possessions of the game, it's certainly a different story. But that said, I saw everything that I would have wanted to see from the Eagles in that game. They didn't turn the ball over. It seemed like Sirianni was asking guys to do things that they do well, not trying to put, square pegs in round holes. The defense, has this bend but don't break ethos. That's what they're trying to do under Jonathan Gannon, sort of pulling a script out of the Brandon Staley defense with the Rams last year. I think that's what they're trying to do, and they certainly did that. So for them, especially the fact that nobody got injured, it was sort of the perfect way to open the season.
All right. So how do you think that Jalen Hurts did?
I thought he did great. I mean, there's a few things you'd like to clean up, but he didn't turn the ball over. That's number one. This was the first game of his career, of his 5 starts, which is not that many, but of his 5 starts when he didn't have an interception or a fumble that wasn't just a bad snap. Kelsey had 1 bad snap in this game that Hurts is technically credited with the fumble, but that doesn't count. He did that stuff well. He's got this like veteran calmness about him, which you saw during that 2-minute drill at the end of the first half, right? Like, they get the ball at the 40-something yard line of the Falcons with 1:44 left or something around that, 3 timeouts, and he knows not to push, right? Like, you can be patient. You can afford to be patient and take what the defense gives you, and they, dink and dunk the ball down the field. He makes some plays with his legs. I thought that was great. I mean, there are veteran quarterbacks who do not have that presence of mind. I think about like a jabroni like Kirk Cousins, who still doesn't know like game management situations, however, a decade into being in the league. So like that stuff is great. It definitely seems like, the guys on the offense and the guys in the locker room sort of, appreciate what Hurts brings to the table. That all that stuff is good. They didn't ask him to throw the ball downfield very much. I think if you look at his expected air yards or his average air yards per throw in this game, it was by far the lowest in the league. It was like just 3.8 yards down the field. I think that was mostly what the Falcons were giving them. They called a couple shot plays that weren't there, and he took what was there. But mostly I think that's just Nick Sirianni giving him answers and giving this offense, like the guys that they have, the personnel they have. He's coaches say all the time, right? Like we want to do what our players do well. We don't want to just force them into our scheme. But everybody says that. Not everybody does that. And it seemed like in this game they really did do that.
I mean, I've been hearing that the whole offseason. We're going to play to our players' strength. And so far, they came out exactly what he said that they was going to do.
Right, you've got JJ Arcega-Whiteside on the field, and all he's doing is blocking. That's great. Yes. That's all he needs to do, because that's that's what he's good at. You've got Quez Watkins and Jalen Reagor getting the ball quickly in their hands so that they can make plays in space. Great. You're not asking Jalen Reagor to go win one-on-one in man coverage on the outside like he was asked to do last year. You've got Devontae Smith winning. You've got Goddard and Ertz making plays in the middle of the field, and you've got Kenny Gainwell on the field to be the pass catching back in 2-minute drills. Like everybody's role made sense, which I thought was nice to see.
So was you surprised they played Kenny as much as they did?
I was surprised that Boston Scott didn't play at all. Yeah, I think he was the only guy on offense who played a skill position who didn't play. Yeah. So I was a little bit surprised by that. But, in training camp towards the end of the summer, Kenny Gainwell was the guy getting the 2-minute drill reps over Miles Sanders. So that didn't surprise me. I was just surprised that it was only the two of them. But I think that makes sense. Like Miles Sanders occasionally drops the ball. He had a lot of drops over the summer. So it makes sense to me that Gainwell would be that guy. And it says a lot about, a 5th-round rookie to be trusted even in pass protection, in those big moments.
Yeah, I mean, Boston Scott. I always thought that he was going to be the odd man out anyway. But I did think that Jordan Howard would have been on the roster. So Boston Scott would have been the odd man out.
Well, that's maybe what your people were talking about. That's why I'm the king of the beats, is because I had the correct roster prediction title for the 3rd year in a row, and part of that was because I was one of the only few who didn't believe that Jordan Howard was going to make the team. So I'll take a whiff on that.
So you think that we're going to keep 3 backs like a while, or is it going to be between depending on who we play, like San Fran? I mean, they're a little bit tougher up front. So do you think do we need a bruiser like a Jordan Howard, or are we okay with what we have?
Well, the rules, allow you to just bring him up from the practice squad if you want to. So I think that's possible that they would maybe bring him up this week if you want somebody who can run between the tackles. And they did have a couple short yarded situations that Gainwell and Sanders were unable to convert last week. So that's possible. But that's part of the reason why I didn't think he was going to make the team, is because he's a veteran who, like, nobody wanted last year. You can just get him through to the practice squad and then bring him up if you need to.
Yeah, exactly. So what was the turning point of this game for you on Sunday?
I guess you would have to say either the Falcons not scoring their second time inside the Eagles' 10-yard line, like settling for that second field goal, or probably the touchdown that Hurts threw to Goddard at the end of the first half to make it 13-6 and then 15-6. I think that was probably when the tenor of the game changed, especially because, in the second half the Falcons had just no answers.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was on the play-by-play. And I kept on saying, if the Eagles score here, they could possibly double dip because they get the ball back first in the third quarter. And I love the fact that we went down and scored. Still had 3 timeouts. I can't recall last time a Doug Peterson team had 3 timeouts, under 2 minutes left. I mean,
and that was
offense.
No, go ahead. I'm too used to cutting people off. It's a bad habit.
Good. Now you're good.
No, I think that was a good example of Nick Sirianni's game management being maybe better than some people might have expected. He's not just some doofus, right? Like, he saved the timeouts for the end of the first half. That was smart. He immediately had them run on the field for that 2-point conversion after the penalty on the extra point, because it's from the 1-yard line. You might as well take that. Absolutely. He saved the timeouts in the second half, only used the one when they had a little confusion before the snap. No bad challenges, all that good stuff. Like, if we were worried about Sirianni as a game manager, I think this was a good sign in week 1 as well.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, people in the chat is saying this. We don't need skilled offensive player on our team if all they could do is block. Because people are mad that JJ made the team and Fulgham didn't. But Fulgham can't play special teams. So Nick Sirianni said he's going to play his players to their strength. What is JJ's strength? Special teams. He was ranked the highest, I think, blocking this past weekend. I was surprised.
Yeah, I feel like that says more about Pro Football Focus than it does about J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, that he was the highest rated blocker. I mean, he played 12 snaps. Let's not overrate it. But I would have kept Fulgham over Arcega-Whiteside just because of what you saw last season. I do still think he has more upside long-term as a receiver. But my sense of this was that maybe this was one area where Howie Roseman let Nick Sirianni have a bit of a win, because Arcega-Whiteside did have he worked harder over camp. Fulgham did have a pretty disappointing training camp. And Arcega-Whiteside, what's interesting is, the first 2 years of his career, he did not play special teams really much at all. He only played, I think 8 special team snaps last year. So it's not something that he was great at. So for him to actually make an impact there, you do have to give him credit. He almost blocked a punt the other night. That's good. I get it. And I was surprised that Fulgham wasn't picked up off waivers by anybody else. Now, he's still on the practice squad, so they can bring him up if he shows something in practice. And my guess is over the course of the season, somebody will get injured and who probably will get called up. So we probably haven't seen the last of him, but I was surprised. I would have kept Fulgham over Arcega-Whiteside.
But see, a lot of people thought it was a Howie call because that's how we pick. A high draft pick in the second round over DK Metcalf. So a lot of people thought it was Howie that chose to keep,
Yeah, I read it the other way. I read it the other way because, he gets credit for bringing in Fulgham too, right? That's part of the front office's job. That's a pro personnel move. So I don't know.
How much power do you think that Nick have on his team? How much say do you think he actually have on his team?
Well, it's Howie's roster. I mean, he has control over the 53-man roster. That is set in stone. So, I don't think he has a ton of organizational sway just yet, but we'll see how this season goes. Maybe he ends up pulling out some more power. But I mean, he's got control over, I think, the game day roster and all that kind of stuff. But maybe that's good, right? He's got his hands full. Game planning every week. He's also calling plays for the first time. Maybe he doesn't need to be worrying about some of that other stuff just yet.
Okay, so if you would put a grade on the play calling, both offense and defense, what would it be for this past Sunday?
So we've got this this hold up on NFL Game Pass. They don't have the All 22 up yet, and like everybody's complaining about it. So I it's hard for me to give a full definitive one. But just from like what I saw,
you the man. Hey, you claim that you predict 3 rosters right. Everybody on the roster is correct. Right. So let's go.
That's right, king of the beats, baby.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, offense like I thought it was great. Guys, as I said before, guys were put in positions to do the things that they are good at. I thought they made the right decisions on going for it on fourth downs, even though they didn't get both of them. I thought they were both the right calls.
Wait, were they the right calls?
I think so.
Go for fourth instead of trying to go for a 53-yard field goal. I thought we were trying to build our kickers' confidence. That's what happened last year. We kept on going for it, and then when we needed him, he wasn't there. Like Jake wasn't there because he hadn't been kicking the whole game. So I thought at that time that we should at least give him a chance because we didn't make it anyway. So worst case scenario, hey, we might have made a 53-yarder or something like that because we was on a 36-yard line, I believe. So I don't know, but you say, hey, you're the king of the beats. Hey,
I'm always of the aggressive variety, like penchant. That's what I think is fourth down, better to be aggressive than not. So the 4th and 4 that you're talking about from like close to midfield, I mean that's a toss up of a field goal anyway. It's not like a guaranteed field goal. We could debate about the specific play call. There was some pressure from both ends. And originally when I watched that play live, I thought that Jalen could have stepped up in the pocket instead of rolling out right. But as I rewatched it today, I'm not so sure that was the case. I think that play was just sort of blown up. And then the second one, it was a pretty light box. It looked like Kenny Gainwell could have maybe picked that up, but he wasn't able to. That one I definitely would have gone for. It was, I think, 4th and 2 from the 20. So yeah, I mean, and as we've have written about, Jeffrey Lurie, the Eagles owner, wants to be aggressive on fourth down. That's he's very pro analytics. That's sort of what he wants, and I think that Sirianni's given that to him. But it's also, I think it's like I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that is a good thing. So yeah, I would have gone for both of those.
Okay, and your grade for the offense?
A for the offense. I mean, I thought it was great. As I said, everybody was asked to do things that they were good at. The defense, they actually kept it pretty vanilla, especially in the second half. Once the Falcons were behind and sort of forced to try to throw the ball, and I don't know if Jonathan Gannon was like trying to hide the defense a little bit, but I thought it was good in terms of like play calling. I don't know, B+, something like that. I think the issues on the first 2 drives were probably more execution than anything else. Especially maybe the first drive, it seemed like the Falcons had a good opening script. Like there wasn't much the Eagles could have done. That second drive, it seemed like there were more missed tackles and a few things that they had to clean up, which they ended up doing.
Yeah, I mean, I did not think that the Falcons was going to come out and blitz like that. They was hurrying up to the line. I mean, catching the Eagles off guard a little bit.
Right.
And that's why I think that we was missing a lot of cutback tackles. Like when the running back cut, there was nobody there. Eric Wilson was on the ground a couple times. Like
he had a couple missed tackles.
Right. So I mean, did they bench him? I didn't
sort
see him a lot.
So what they had was to start the game, it was Eric Wilson and TJ Edwards in base instead of Alex Singleton, and then they would have they had Jannard Avery as the Sam, and then in nickel it was Wilson and Singleton. But after those first 2 or 3 drives, Sean Bradley came in for Eric Wilson in the base. So the base was Bradley and Edwards in the middle. And then when it was nickel, it was Singleton and Wilson in the middle.
All right. Look I think
I wasn't expecting Sean Bradley to play that big of a role on defense.
No, I wasn't either. I feel like because the whole offseason, we've been hearing that they've been practicing 3-4, 4-3, just changing up the personnel packages.
Right.
I think that might be the recipe for the rest of the year, but who knows?
I'm still a little bit on the fence about the Sam linebacker thing that they have going on, because like it's hard to convince me that like Jannard Avery, Patrick Johnson is one of the best 11 players on the defense. It's hard for me to believe that that's in the interest of getting the best guys on the field. but like if it's providing something to the defense that is too smart for me to recognize, that's fine too. It's just that I feel like if it was going to be a bigger part, like if it was going to be this big of a part of the defense, I wish that they would have put more resources into finding somebody to play that position, over the course of the summer.
Okay, all right. So from what you saw on Sunday, I know it's against the Falcons. So from what you saw on Sunday, where would you rank the Eagles among the NFC teams?
Well, I think it's fair to say to me, and I would have said this before the season.
Okay.
The Giants are fourth. They're trash. Like that, they're going to have a terrible year.
Okay.
You got Jason Garrett calling plays and Daniel Jones fumbling the ball, and neither of those things is going to change. And then I would have said probably before the start of the season, I think I picked the Eagles to finish second in the division, and I think that's fair now. Mm-hmm. Like especially with Ryan Fitzpatrick going down, that's a huge blow to Washington. So I would put them third, and right now I would probably have to put Dallas one, just because that offense is pretty dynamic, and they played better on defense against the Bucs than I would have expected. Although, to lose a game when you have like the win the turnover battle that badly is pretty disappointing for them. I don't think it's like, maybe it's a week one overreaction. I don't think it's a crazy thing to think that the Eagles can win this division. I don't think that's nuts at all.
Look, I agree. So among the NFC, the whole NFC, though,
that's tougher.
That's a little bit tougher. But would you put? So where would you put them? Like,
so
8 out of 16.
We'll go by divisions, right? So you've got the West, and I think you have to put the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Niners ahead of them. Maybe the Cardinals too, right?
Yeah,
so that's 4. Like that division's pretty stacked.
Yeah.
The Bucs ahead of them, that's 5.
Okay.
Saints, like I didn't think they were going to have a great year, but that was a pretty impressive win. So you probably have to put the Saints ahead of them right now,
but
right?
We beat the Saints last year, though.
Well, that's true. I agree. So, it's not crazy. I don't think it's crazy to think that they could beat the Saints. Maybe that was one special game plan from Sean Payton. But for now, let's say that's 6. Panthers don't impress me. Falcons, obviously, garbanzo beans.
Chicago.
Bears, no. I think
Green
Packers
Bay.
You probably still have to put ahead of them, even though they got smoked.
7.
That's 7. Vikings, I think they're probably close to even. I would probably take the Vikings.
You would.
I think I probably would. Don't make me back Kirk Cousins. Yeah, that's all. You know what? You got me. That's fine. I'll throw Kirk Cousins out the window. The Melvin's gone, and then the Lions, obviously. So that's 8 or 9 teams. Like that's not crazy. And the Eagles have an easy schedule. The beginning of this schedule is tough, but the last 10, 11 games are pretty easy. Now they like the way the schedule sets up. It's brutal that they don't have a bye until week 14 or 13 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's tough. So we'll see if they can make it through. And so much is going to depend on health. But right now, I don't think it's crazy to think that they're a playoff team.
All right. Hey, Bergen, I have a question for you. What is your thought on our punter?
He was good.
Yes.
He was good. Another Australian.
MVP. Yeah. MVP on a special team.
So the most valuable punter, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go here. All right. So the Eagles opened up $11.1 million in cap space today, right? By redoing, Fletcher Cox deal. They took 13.9 out of 15 mil, gave it to him as a signing bonus.
They do this a lot, yeah.
Yeah, we have $20 million in cap space for this year. What's going on? Like, is there something in the works, a trade, a big free agent signing? Because we did this back in 2017. We brought all these mid-season. Ajayi came mid-season. Is Howard going to wait if he see the Eagles are doing good, a playoff push? Is he going to try to do something? Like, what are you hearing?
I'm hearing that they're giving this money to you.
Oh,
they're signing you. They're signing you to a deal. You get to name your position.
Man, YouTube, I'm gone.
That's Sam linebacker. You're gonna play that Sam linebacker spot.
Okay, I'll take it.
It's not like there are guys on the street who are like worth a lot of money. If they're on the street for a reason. So my guess is what they're gonna use that for, if they do indeed use it, they might end up just rolling it over. Is probably extensions, right? A guy like Dallas Goedert, or a guy like Josh Sweat or Derek Barnett, like these guys who have contracts coming up at the end of the year. Maybe that's what that money is for. But otherwise, I don't expect like a big win now deal. I mean, this entire season for the Eagles from the beginning, from the day they made the Carson Wentz trade, really from the day they fired Doug Peterson, has been about setting things up for next offseason. They've got all these draft picks. They've got money coming off the books. So they're not going to do anything, in my mind, right now that's going to jeopardize having the maximum amount of flexibility they can next offseason.
So if they would extend anyone, so why not just do it this year? Because next year we do have a lot of money. But you know how if these players go out and ball out, Dallas Goedert, I mean, instead of giving him about 64 mil, he might want about 74, 84 mil. I mean, and Zach Ertz, who knows what might happen with Zach Ertz? If the Eagles gonna keep him, have that dual threat at tight end with Hurts and Goddard, So if you're gonna sign anybody, this is the perfect time to sign them. So why would
you would think so? You would think so. I guess we'll see. I mean, that's what they did with Mailata, right? And I think that was the smart thing to do because, if he played as well as I think he's going to play this year, he's going to be worth a lot more money. So I think that deal is going to look like a bargain pretty soon.
Absolutely.
He's only 24 years old.
24, and he is a beast.
He's a beast.
Pancake block. Matter of fact, I think there's a warrant out for him.
That's
that
right.
was illegal. I mean,
he's not allowed. He's not allowed in Georgia.
He smashed that little dude. But the defensive back got up and he was running.
He was. That's true. So I don't know if he got up. Monday morning. It probably took him a while to get out of bed. But
all right. So this upcoming matchup. So what packages do you see Nick running the most? The 49ers defense. I mean, with Bosa coming up the edge, with Ford, with Warner, with I think a Greenlaw. I mean, but they did lose their.
They lost Jason Verrett.
DB, Verrett. So I mean, what package do you see the Eagles trying to run against them? I mean, 12 personnel, 21 personnel,
I think they played, I think, about 60% 11 personnel on Sunday against the Falcons, and that's Sirianni's MO. I think some people were expecting, because Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert are both still here, that we were going to see a lot of 12 personnel. That's not what I expect. And I think, especially with the injuries in the 49er secondary, I think you probably will see a lot of 11 personnel again in this game from the Eagles. And what's interesting is they have different packages. Obviously, they started the game with Quez and Devontae and JJ Arcega-Whiteside. Rager comes in. Greg Ward came in for that 2-minute drill. They have different looks within 11 personnel that I think makes things a little bit interesting. So yeah, I mean, my guess is that's what they'll do.
What would you want them to see? What would you want them to run?
I always want to see 11 personnel. Yeah, definitely. 12
so
personnel.
Simple,
I'm so over 12 personnel. I've seen enough of it over the last 3 years.
The two backs in the backfield.
They had one snap with that the other day, and it was a 3-yard loss. It was a 3-yard loss. I do not need to see two running backs on the field. It's like everybody thinks this is some crazy thing that's going to confuse the defense. They'll just put a corner on the second running back. It doesn't matter. It's so overrated. Give me 11, run it well. That's all I care about.
All right, so
we did see a 13 personnel empty. They ran this hurry up 4 plays in a row. The Falcons ended up calling timeout because they were a little bit confused by it. So they had Stoll, Goddard, and Ertz all split out wide. Kenny Gainwell split out wide too, and Devontae Smith in with them. That was an interesting package.
So do you want to see more downfield, more throws, to back the defense up a little bit, or are you okay with the offense that we just ran?
I mean, I always want to see more downfield throws, but it seemed like on Sunday, the Falcons were trying to take that away. And so if they are, by all means, pick up what they're giving you and move the chains. I think that's totally fine. But yeah, I would be surprised if there aren't a few more shots downfield next week.
Okay. So your prediction. All right,
it's too early in the week for my prediction. I got to dig into it.
I mean, you're the expert. You saw the Falcons game.
But for the crystal ball to materialize, it takes some simmering. It needs to cook.
I'm pretty sure you look at highlights of the 49ers game against the.
I gotta watch it. I gotta watch it. Although my guy Elijah Mitchell, ooh, I love that guy. He was my favorite running back in the draft. Him and Gainwell, and then the other guy from Virginia Tech.
All right. So we'll wait on that. I'll tweet you later on, and you'll tell me.
You
on
let me
Friday
know,
or something.
or listen to the Thursday night Birds with Friends.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. So, what is your biggest concern going into this game?
I mean, stopping the 49ers offense. I think the 49ers offense has a lot more going for it than the Falcons offense did. And, they're not going to hold them to 6 points, right? I think they're not going to shut them down in the red zone like they did against the Falcons. So
you never know. You don't have a crystal ball. Just like you said, you just told me you had a crystal ball. And now all of a sudden you telling me they're not. So
I'm saying I think they're going to give up more than 6 points. That's all I'm saying. But listen, the link is going to be rocking. Who knows?
Absolutely. 64,000 fan, first time back in over a year. Yeah, it's going to be rocking. So who do we have to stop on that 49ers offense in order for us to make life a lot easier for our defense to get them off the field? Remember last year when we played them?
Well, remember Kittle had like 15 catches, something crazy like that. But it didn't matter, right? Like, I think that's fine. Give him what he needs.
Okay.
I'm not too worried about that. I think what you will see is what we saw in that first game, and I think that this is what Jonathan Gannon cares about is, no big plays. They were the only defense in the league on Sunday in week 1 who didn't give up a play of at least 20 yards, like not a single one. And so I think if they can, again, they're not going to do that again probably, but that is their goal. I think, make the offense prove that they can sustain a long drive and then punch it in from the red zone. Mm-hmm. So yeah, don't let Deebo Samuel behind you, like the Lions let him get behind them. Don't let fill your run gaps a little bit better than they did in the first 2 drives. Even though it's like Elijah Mitchell, I think the 49ers have proven that pretty much anybody can be a productive running back in that scheme. So I don't know how much Trey Lance we're going to see, but I don't know. That offense scares me a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, but would you rather? All right, so how much of Trey Lance do you think we're gonna see? If Jimmy G is back there with our
maybe, I bet they because he played like 5 snaps in the first game, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I bet they open it up a little bit more. Like I bet it'll be like a full series or something like that. But my guess is it'll still be mostly Jimmy G.
Okay, Richie, Ronnie McLeod status. When will we know?
I think we'll hear more later in the week once they start. Tomorrow we'll get an actual practice report that'll tell us if he was limited or not. So he said in the summer that he was going to play week 1. So I think it's fair to read it as a little bit of a setback. But I don't think he's far away. I mean, he's been out there.
Okay. Who is your defense player of the game?
Javon Hargrave was a beast, man.
Yes.
He was the best player all summer on defense. And it was nice to see that, sometimes what you see in training camp actually carries over.
Look, I'm going to give it to Ridgeway. Ridgeway didn't even start. He came in and still had a sack.
He should have had 2 sacks. Yeah.
He should have. So, hey, I'm going to give it to Ridgeway.
Okay. I'm sure he'll be happy with that.
What are some areas Eagles need to improve going into this game?
There's not much. I mean, it'd be nice if they could hit a couple plays downfield. It'd be nice if they could, avoid the pre-snap penalties. It'd be nice if they could turn the 49ers over. But I mean, it's hard to really complain about what we saw on Sunday. That was about as good as it gets.
So the penalties, I think we led the league in penalties with 14 altogether.
Is that right?
And 42 plays we ran.
Who cares? It's fine.
It was like if we was averaging 1 penalty every 9 plays, I think it was something like that. So that's not good. But I really want them to improve that defense. Like I want them to just get off the field because I was getting scared. No lie. When the Falcons went on that 15-play drive, had the ball for 11 minutes in the first quarter. I'm like, there's no way these guys can maintain this pace. The defense is on the field too long. Get them off the field. I want to see at least max like 6 plays. At the
I mean,
49ers
that sounds good.
get a
Yeah.
first down. Next, boom, that's it. So I don't know. I don't know. But I would like to see our defense get hot from the jump. Like, I don't want to see this little 15 play because, like you said, the 49ers are a better team than the Falcons. The 49ers might
Definitely.
punch it in. So now if they punch it in
I
and
mean,
we're
there's a
down,
chance that like your local Pop Warner team is better than the Falcons.
oh man. Hey, look, I like it. I like it. Bo, was the offensive line false start due to not playing together in the preseason or at all or what? Or it's just
I don't know. It's hard to say. Um, we can ask those guys about that a little bit. But like 5-yard penalties here and there, I think it's not that big of a deal.
okay. All right, look, hey, this was
Unless you're the
gas.
Raiders and it's like
Oh,
first and goal from the 1-yard line.
oh my God. First and go and accept, and it's still win the game though. But hey,
Yeah.
I guess at the end, hey, all that matters is that W. But look, I appreciate you coming on here, man. I know that you're a busy man. I've been trying to get you on here for like 10 years, and finally you responded. Hey, I enjoyed myself.
I had a good
So
time.
and I can't watch you and Zach again on Thursday night to try to see what your predictions are. I mean, where y'all head is at, what y'all been seeing throughout this week practice, who's injured, who's not, who's going to play. So look, I really enjoyed. So once again, let the people know where to find you at and what you're working on.
Again, you can follow me at Bo_Wolf on Twitter, WULF. Although I don't really recommend that. I'm not really bringing much to the table, Twitter-wise. I'd rather you read me on The Athletic. You can check that out, and you can get 50% off deal at theathletic.com/birdswithfriends. And then, of course, listen or watch Birds with Friends on YouTube or listen wherever you get your podcasts. And follow Zach Berman and Sheil Kapadi on Twitter, and follow Sheil on Instagram. I think he really likes that.
Okay, all right. Hey, shout out to everybody that was in the chat. If you're not subscribed to my channel, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and on Sunday, I'll see you for a play-by-play on Sunday.